Hi friends, today we are going to talk about another design pattern from Microsoft architecture. These architecture patterns are given on Microsoft website, and the pattern we are going to discuss today is command and query responsibility segregation pattern. Command and query segregation pattern, also called as CQRS. CQRS pattern. So, what does CQRS pattern tell us? In normal database schemas or in normal systems, what we see is we have a database and we have an application, and all the business logic validation, business logic, and presentation there also. How the data is presented on the website is handled by the application, and then the finally queries are hit to the database. So this is the database that we're talking about, and it is going to return the response. It can be basic CRUD operations like either create, read, update, and delete. So it works well in normal scenarios, in normal CRUD operations. But as and when your application scales, you may need to devise other ways to get efficient architecture. Then in those cases, what we do is instead, there are some challenges. First, let's of all see what are the different challenges we can face when we have a single model or database. We will be saying model, and by model we will mean how we are accessing a database or a layer above the database. So in normal CRUD operations, it provides no issues, but as and when requirements get complex, the first challenge that we see is read and writes are both bound by the database model or database schema that we have to use. So even if our requirements for read and requirements for write are different, that read may want to access data in some other way and write may want to access or write insert the data in some other way, but since they are present in the same model, we are bound by it, and this creates barriers for efficient development, for efficient system design. So we are going to next see how we can overcome this issue. This issue can be overcome by, instead of having a single database or single model, we are using model and database interchangeably. Its the differences in both of them can be seen shortly. For example, you have the presentation layer through which the user is accessing your application. It goes through multiple stages, like you will validate the data, you will do some business logic on it, and then you are going to send the queries, send the commands, or basically insert updates to your database. So we can create a read model, we can create a write model which will handle insertions in the data. This is called write model. And we can create a read model which will be used to query the data. So how this makes our system efficient is, right, the system accessing the right functionality is not dependent upon how these are going to be done. System can be designed which is efficient for the writing mechanism or writing model, and since read models are independent of the writing models, then you can create models. For example, in MySQL, you can create views over your table, so that you can provide extra functionalities to those tables. You can provide efficient access, because if you are accessing the right view of the data or the model through which data is written, then you may have to write complex queries. For example, you may have to write complex joined queries for reading the data from the database. So having separate read models or read layer of abstraction. We can say models as layer of abstractions. So when we have a layer of abstraction for reading operation, you can create models as per your requirement, or layer of abstraction as per your requirement, so that the way in which you have to access the data becomes easier for you. So in this case, we have a read model which can be a view over a database. In other cases, you can have separate read and write data stores. We're not going to say database, we're going to say data stores, because this can be a read database or read data store, and this can be a write data store. All the writes are done here and they are synced to your read data store, and they can be accessed through query. And this is your application which is doing validation, and it is doing business logic, and it is doing writes. So instead of sending direct queries to the database, what we can do is we can create a model over it. So you will send commands to this system. I'm going to take an example from the Microsoft Architecture Patterns website. It says that rather than we are going to say book a room, we are not informing the system to set status of a particular room to occupied. We're not doing that. We are giving a command, and it is up to the application over the write model or write data store to handle that command. In this way, you can abstract your database, and whenever you want to create a particular you can abstract out the database, and having different read data store, you can scale your read queries, because reads are now independent of the write. So one advantage is reads are independent of write, independent. So if there are a lot of read queries, it is not going to choke your writing operation. It is not going to impact your writing operation. Another advantage of having a write and read database separate is, for example, if your read queries are increasing, you can add extra read stores which can be synced from the write database. So you can scale your read queries even though your write database is smaller as per the requirement. One more thing that we can do is we can have different type of database for reads and different types of database for writes. That can be done easily. But one of the challenges that we may face in this system is that since writes are done in the write database and then they are synced in the read database, there is a chance this is eventual consistency, because writes are first done here and then they are replicated here. So there can be points in time where your application has written the data, and when it is trying to access the data from the read database, it has still not synced here. For example, if it was not synced here, then it is not going to get the data. This is called slave lag, and this is due to eventual consistency. How you can overcome this eventual consistency is, one way is, whenever you're writing the data, do not say that data has been written until your slaves have written the data. So by ensuring this, you can ensure that when this write data store says that data has been written, you will be sure that it has been written to the slave databases as well. But the problem with this approach is it is going to increase your latency, because currently in the normal scenario you are going to be concerned about time taken to write in a single database. But when you are ensuring consistency among the slaves, you will have to bear the time taken to write in slaves as well. Now let's try to see how we can achieve these type of cases. So a very easy scenario is we can have a write database called master. In MySQL, we can see that there is master. You can have a master database on which all the writes are coming, and then you can have slave databases or which are replicating the data from master so that all the reads are coming to the slave databases. This way you are segregating the responsibility of read and write to different models. So this is the read model, this is the write model, and you can have different indices. You can have different indices on the MySQL database, on the master database, which are optimized for writing the data, and you can have different indices on the slave database which are optimized for reading the data. So this is one of the cases of MySQL. Another scenario we can see is, what if we have to implement our own CQRS? In that case, what we have to do is we can basically create an async store of all the commands that are executed on a write model. We are saying write model because it may have some application logic inbuilt in it. Okay. Or it may be just update and insert queries in case of MySQL. So we may have a master database. By master, I mean that it is taking writes as well. You can read from the data, but since we are segregating read and writes, so we are going to say that master is taking writes. So when you are writing the data in the master, you are pushing the updates that are coming to master, updates or insert, into an asynchronous event queue. So event sourcing, this is called event sourcing. You are sourcing all the events that are coming to your main write model. This is your write model. And using this, you can power your read models. Using this, you can create your read models. They can be any. For example, if you want to have Elasticsearch, you can use this event sourcing queue or events, these set of events to replay on your read slate so that you can eventually reach the state in which your master or your write model is. And similarly, you can use this event queue to replicate your condition, to replicate your data to any other slaves. And if your slave goes down, you can still replicate your data. And using this, you can create any type of view that you want to create. So you have all these states, all the events that are coming to your main database, and then since they are in your write queue, you can basically recreate any sort of view, any sort of read view over it. And if you lose the data, you can basically recreate the data. It can be less cost efficient because if you want to store all the data, then it is going to take a large amount of space and it is going to cost you a lot. But it gives you freedom to recreate your write views as per your business requirements. Another advantage of having a CQRS is, since we are having different read and write views, so this is the write view and these are the read views. They can be different databases, they can be different data stores. Different teams can have access to different components. For example, these only two teams can write to the database, and these are the two teams which can read from the database. And even in this case, you can have different level of access to different teams. For example, you can create a different view for a sensitive data to which only less number of people have access to, and you can create views as per the requirement. So it is going to enhance security in your system because you are limiting the access to the views which are intended by the team, to the data which is intended by the team. So let's try to summarize all the benefits and disadvantages of having a CQRS mode of different read and write stores or different read and write views. Is first of all, it can provide you independent scaling. You can have different reads, and if your number of writes are larger, then you can have different write databases. So one is independent scaling. Another advantage is you can basically optimize your read and write data stores as per your requirement. Read and writes are not going to create challenge for each other. Another advantage is security. Obviously, we have seen that you can have different layer of views for different people, and sensitive data can be removed from views so that it is not a security concern, and security can be handled in a better way. We have separations of concern, as it is already seen that reads and writes are separated out, and their functionalities are developed as per their respective requirements. Also, the reads are going to be simpler because we are creating read views custom tailored to the read requirements of that service. And you can, if you are using an event sourcing pattern, you can have an event queue sort of thing in which all the updates or all the commands are coming, and you can replay, you can, any team can read this event to get to know the current state of the system or any update on a particular item. Also, you can replay these events to create a snapshot of the current state of the write database or write data store. Now, with advantages comes disadvantage. One of the disadvantages, it is going to create complexity in your system, because if you have to create the data views from your event sourcing queue, it is going to create a challenge. And if you're using event queues, then you have to consider the scenario when you are consuming from an event queue and there is failure in consumption by this queue or this build model, then how are you going to handle this? How are you going to handle retries for consumption of a particular message? Also, you have to consider that since these read views are getting data from the write database, they are going to be eventually consistent, because writes are not going to be failed even if the data has not been written in the read views. So writes are eventually consistent, but they are not immediately consistent. So these are the challenges that you may face when you are designing a CQRS system. So this is all on the event sourcing on CQRS pattern. Though it is a very big pattern that may be used in a lot of places, but we are going to cover till this point in this video. If time permits, we are going to make another video on CQRS. Where we are going to see more details about it. I hope you like the video. Thank you and have a nice day.